Welcome to Dorcas Fashion Academy. In this video, I shall teach you how to sew and neaten different types of seam allowances.
Okay, so now I'm going to teach you how to sew at 1 centimeter seam allowance. You can obviously mark it with your chalk, but I'm going to teach you an easier method. In this sewing machine, you can move the needle to the left. In which case, if you guide yourself by the edge of the presser foot, you will be sewing at 1 centimeter. It is very important that you put your presser foot down, hold your threads and dig your needle in. Many students have the problem that they don't hold the threads from the back and the upper looper takes it up and obviously unthreads the needle, which is quite annoying. So once your needle is in, you have your threads held and your presser foot down. We're going to sew a couple of stitches and then press down, keeping pressed the reverse button, a few stitches and then continue forward. If you keep your fabric aligned with the edge of the presser foot, you're going to sew 1 centimeter all the way along. It is also true that if you hold it taut, back and front, the stitches will come out neater and straighter. Again, when we get to the end, we press, and this creates a little knot at the beginning and at the end. When we do 1 centimeter, we zigzag together. We do not open the seam. It's so small that it's not necessary. So in this case, we're going to put it on a zigzag, keep it on the 3 length, but I won't keep it on the 5 width. It'll be too wide for a zigzag. I'm going to put it down on a 3. When we zigzag, we want to zigzag very close to the edge, because if you zigzag further in, it's got to continue fraying until it reaches the zigzag. So we are going to try and do 1 needle out and 1 needle in. 1 out of the fabric, just very close to the edge, and 1 needle in. This way, the zigzag is right smack on the edge, meaning that it doesn't have to fray loads. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller to see the difference. See, this one here was on the larger part of the 3 and this one is on the 2. And this is a nice zigzag to neaten your edges. So now I'm going to teach you how to sew at 2 centimeter seam allowance. Here I have measured approximately 2 centimeters seam allowance, and we're going to sew in a straight line with a reverse at the beginning and a reverse at the end. This one, because it has more seam allowance, we will zigzag separately. But first of all, we shall start sewing. I have put everything back as it was on a straight stitch, 3 centimeter length and straight stitch here. So press a foot down, held the threads from the back and dig the needle in, and then is when you can sew. We do a few stitches, hold the reverse down and then continue to sew. We hold from the back, keeping the fabric taut. And when we get to the end, we do the same as before. A few stitches back and a few stitches forward. This way, we have a little knot at the beginning and at the end. Now, because this has 2 centimeter seam allowance, we are going to press this open. And then we zigzag both edges individually. So I've just pressed this seam open and I'm going to zigzag the edges, single fabric. The same as before, I will open up my stitch width to 3. I'll keep the length in 3, and I'll position my stitches in zigzag. Again, as before, we are going to do 1 stitch on the inside and 1 stitch on the outside, holding my threads from behind. So as you can see, we have a little zigzag close to the edge. And now I will repeat the same on the other side. Hold the threads. And pull the fabric as you go along from the back. At least help it along. So this is it. This is your neatening of the seams. We teach our students how to zigzag on domestic machines because not everybody has an overlocker. Obviously, those are for the more advanced students.
Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please give us a like, and we would love to hear your comments and requests.